Girl, stop playing. Welcome back to another episode of the Girl Stop Playing podcast. It's your favorite homegirl, Koereyelle, here to encourage you to stop playing with your potential and start working for what you want in life and in love. You already know that I believe you can make the money and you can have the honey. You can have it all as long as you are willing to work for it. And it's my goal to bring you the information and conversations that will help you do just that. Now, before we get into this week's solo sermon, I have to let y'all know, like, I got to be honest with y'all. This is like my verbal diary where I'm able to really keep it real, be transparent, be authentic, and let y'all know some of the BS I be going through, some of the things I be thinking through. And one of the things that has been on my mind, on my heart, and in my spirit for a while now is just the fact that I'm not even going to say I, because I know that I'm not the only one feeling this way, but I think we as a society have gotten so caught up in social media, and some of the things that I see these days really makes me feel like, I just want to log off the internet. Like, I just want to unsubscribe from the foolishness. I kind of feel some type of way about being categorized as, an influencer, because I think a lot of great things have come from it. Obviously, I don't want to sound ungrateful, but I also feel like there's a lot of BS going on that I sometimes get lumped into because of, my presence and my following, specifically on Instagram. YouTube, I'm not going nowhere. My podcast, of course, this is my baby, but Instagram, it's just not what it used to be. And a lot of us, I mean, I had my business before I created an Instagram page, but I will definitely say that for a lot of entrepreneurs, Instagram has been crucial in helping us to create income. And so luckily, I haven't had to rely on Instagram. I've always preached about building up your email list. I have over 60,000 subscribers on my email list. So I'm not, relying on Instagram by any means, but it still feels like something, I have to do, something I'm obligated to do, something I'm expected to do. And I'm just kind of sick of it, especially because this algorithm is stressing me out, y'all. I, am turned off by the idea that Instagram changes the rules, even though, it's their platform, it's their business, they can do what they want to do. But it almost feels like they are sabotaging the success and the sales of us entrepreneurs who were at one point doing really, really well on Instagram. Now, if you aren't posting reels, if you aren't, making everything into a video, then you're not getting views, you're not getting engagement, and it's just frustrating. And so I've been reading a lot of articles. I've been having a lot of conversations with other people who, share the same sentiment, who feel like they are over it. They're taking, social media detoxes. They're getting off of Instagram. They're taking their talents to other platforms. And so I have been in the lab really trying to figure out for myself, in my own business, some of the ways that I've been able to still generate income and create profits, and coming up with a way that I can teach other people how to do the same thing. And so my team and I have come up with an amazing, it's thebomb.com. I can't even lie, but it's an amazing resource that I'm really able to share and work with other women, other seasoned CEOs like myself, who you have, a legitimate business, you have a true expertise, you have experience, but you are sick and tired of relying on social media to make your sales, and you are ready for a change. And so I have put together a 12-month mentorship where we're going to work together for a full year so that I can show you my signature processes and the way that I've been able to position myself as an expert, as a thought leader, how I've been able to leverage my own podcast, but also the podcast and the platforms of other people, and how I've been able to get a number of press opportunities and media opportunities without having a publicist. And so for those of y'all who are sick and tired of being sick and tired of social media, for those of y'all who ain't trying to dance on the gram, for those of y'all who are over trying to figure out how to increase your engagement, but you still want to increase your income, definitely check out the application link that I'm going to drop in the show notes below. This 12-month mentorship, it's called Positioned and Paid. And I'm literally going to teach you how you can position yourself to get paid by leveraging podcasts and press. So if you're interested in starting your own podcast, if you're interested in learning how to get onto other people's platforms, if you want to know how you can get more press for yourself so you can make a name for yourself, then this is something that I want to invite you to check out, because y'all, there's just got to be a better way. And luckily there is a better way. We just have to start to transition the way that we've been doing business, because Instagram has kind of made us lazy. It at one point you could just put up a post and get paid, but the math ain't mathing anymore. And so, wanted to start out by letting you know, if you have been feeling that way, you're definitely not alone. So holla at your girl, submit an application, and let's see if you are a good fit and if we, could potentially work together. So that's first things first. It's time to get positioned and paid. Okay. Now, this week's conversation is definitely one that is near and dear to me, because it's really personal. Like, I really felt like it was therapeutic when I was preparing my notes for this solo show, because it's a conversation that I've had with a girlfriend, a conversation that I've had with my husband, conversation that I've had with myself. And because it keeps coming up, I felt like, okay, God, I guess you just want me to share this with the people. So here we go. So I've shared this a couple times, but over the last year, it's actually been a year. Like, by the time y'all listen to this, it's literally like a year to the day that I signed up for this mentorship and coaching program. And this mentorship that I signed up for is a 6-figure mentorship. And when I say that, I don't mean that it's for people making 6 figures. I mean, the investment to be a part of it was 6 figures, $155,000 to be exact. And so I invested to be a part of this program, a year-long program, where I was surrounded by so many amazing entrepreneurs who were doing phenomenal things, like things that, to me, before being a part of this program, before sitting in this room, they were like unheard of. If, somebody would have told me these numbers, if somebody would have told me, that this is what was possible, I probably would have been like, girl, stop playing. But because I know that these are legitimate people, because I've seen the receipts, I can definitely say that people are out here making major moves. But I gotta be honest with y'all. Although this mastermind should have been a source of inspiration, I kind of felt like it became a source of intimidation. And when I say that, I'm not taking anything away from the mastermind, because the people in there, like I said, they're doing amazing things. But I think personally, I put myself in a position to allow the successes of other people to make me feel like I was lacking, to make me think that I was less than. And I don't necessarily know, that it was, the best environment for me to put myself in, because it's kind of taken a toll. I don't want to say it's taken a toll on my spirit, but it's taken a toll definitely on my mental clarity, because it's really challenging for me to, get in the lab and come up with these great ideas and put my all into things when I'm not getting the results that I typically get, when I'm not, seeing the success that I typically see, and definitely not seeing the success that, some of these other people are seeing. So when they're getting up in front of the room and talking about, the fact that they made $1 million in one single day, when they're getting up and talking about the fact that they've made $7 million, which is, I'm not making that up. Like, there were 3 people in this room that stood up and said that they made $7 million in one day. And as connected as I am with God, as tied in with my spirit as I felt like I was, I still let that make me feel like I was less than and I was lacking something, because your girl ain't made $7 million in a year. Okay. And so again, what should have been a source of inspiration definitely was really intimidating. And it made me feel like, well, what am I doing wrong? Well, do I belong here? I started having those thoughts. And so at one of these mastermind meetings, I was talking to another young lady who was in the mastermind. And I was just telling her, I was being honest and telling her, how I was feeling and kind of what I was going through and why I was feeling frustrated. And I got to tell you, a big part of what I feel like has kind of slowed me down, and I mean this in, the most positive way possible, but I definitely feel like me sitting down and settling down to birth an entire human being and go on maternity leave and really try to pause, to go through my postpartum stuff. I definitely feel like that slowed me down, which, it did. That is what happens when you have a baby. And so to prepare myself now to basically put myself in that same position when I don't necessarily feel prepared to be in that same position, that's kind of frustrating. And it's one of those frustrations that is not that it's out of my control, but it's something that I guess it is out of my control, because the baby is coming, he's coming. Or she's coming. We'll see. But either way, the baby's on the way. So I was sharing this with one of the other ladies who is in the mastermind. She has 5 kids. Okay. So I felt like if anybody feels me, she gonna feel me on this. Okay. And so she, of course made me feel better, was telling me about, her experiences and what she's been able to do, and how her results weren't necessarily, what everybody else was talking about their results were. And that made me feel a little better. Right. So she comes back the next day, because it was a 2-day mastermind. She comes back the next day and she's like, I was thinking about you and I was praying about you last night. And I just got to tell you what God wanted me to tell you. She was like, you're like a bamboo tree. She was like, I don't think you realize it, but you're like a bamboo tree. And I don't know nothing about no bamboo trees. So I'm like, okay, girl, I don't really know what that means, but what does that mean? And so she started to explain to me how bamboo trees grow. And so in a nutshell, and I'm going to break it down in just a second, but in a nutshell, what she said is that bamboo trees grow underground for years. Like, they grow in the darkness for years where nobody can see what's going on. But once they start to sprout, once they hit, above ground, they shoot up super, super fast. Their growth is accelerated. And she was like, that's you. You are just in your underground season right now. So don't get frustrated with, what you're seeing everybody else doing. Don't get frustrated with what you feel like you're not doing. You are just a bamboo tree. And, God wanted me to let you know that you're a bamboo tree. So y'all know I'm a thug. I almost shed a little thug tear, because I really felt like that is what I needed to hear. And I definitely know that, God sends his messengers to share messages with you. And I know that because I definitely feel like these solo sermons are my opportunity to share those messages with you all. And so I told my husband that, he was just kind of like, yeah, okay, girl, you're a bamboo tree. And then 2 days ago or yesterday, I was watching a sermon, and I like to get on YouTube and watch my sermons. Don't judge me, but I particularly like watching Transformation Church with Mike Todd. And an episode came up. It was entitled, what was it entitled? Something about what you're preparing for. And I'm gonna find it though, and I'm gonna link it in the show notes so that you can go watch it, because I'm sure that's not what it was called. But the story that he shared in the sermon was about your bamboo season. And I was just like, okay, God, okay, I see you. I see what you're doing. I see that you felt like I needed this reminder. And because he dropped it in my spirit, because that particular sermon literally just popped up, and I happened to click on it, I felt like it was something that I should share with you. So even though I'm in a season of searching, even though I feel unsettled, I refuse to settle. I refuse to give up. I refuse to give in to those feelings of doubt and that feeling of discouragement and the feeling of confusion. And so I just want to share this message today with anybody who feels like they don't know what's going to happen next. Anybody who feels like the results that they are used to receiving are not necessarily what they're seeing right now. To anybody who has started to lose faith, to anybody who has started to feel like, I don't even know what God has for me, this is for you. So you're the bamboo, boo. You are the bamboo. And once you realize you're the bamboo, I think that will lessen the load just a little bit. That will help you put things into perspective. So a couple of facts about bamboo trees. Bamboo trees use their energy to expand its roots. Okay, so a lot of the bamboo's energy goes to creating a strong root system. So while all the other trees in the forest might be focused on, bearing fruit, the bamboo is using its energy to strengthen its roots, to make sure that it's building from a solid foundation. It's doing that hard work, that dirty work, literally underground, where nobody can see it, nobody can clap for it, nobody can praise you for it, but that's what it's using its energy on. Bamboo trees are so strong that you can use bamboo in place of wood. So although it takes a minute for them to start growing above ground, once they start growing, they are so strong that you can literally build with bamboo in the same way that you can build with wood. A bamboo tree takes 3 years on average for it to establish itself. So for 3 years, that bamboo is doing work behind the scenes. It's doing work underground. It's doing the dirty work. It's doing the uncomfortable work. It's doing the self-work to establish and expand its roots before it even starts to get any results. Once a bamboo tree begins to grow above ground, it grows rapidly. It's literally the fastest growing tree. It can grow up to 3 feet every single day. So imagine that. For 3 years, it's doing work that nobody sees. It's expanding its roots. It's strengthening its foundation underground, behind closed doors, behind the scenes, right? It's working on its roots. But once that thing hits sunlight, once that thing comes out, it can grow up to 3 feet every day. 3 feet a day, y'all. And last but not least, bamboos regenerate themselves. So if you go out there and you try to cut down a bamboo tree, guess what? It's going to grow again. It's literally going to regenerate and grow again. And so I just want y'all to take into consideration the fact that you might be a bamboo tree. You might not be like everybody else. The results that you are seeing everyone else get so fast, the rapid results that they're getting, that's cool, that's cute. But that doesn't mean that it's going to be long lasting. Okay. But once you realize you're a bamboo, once you do the work underground, the dirty work that has to be done to build that solid foundation, you're going to enter a season of unusual acceleration. People are going to look around and be like, wait a minute, where'd she come from? Hold on, I didn't even see that coming. And once you hit that point, once you step into that season, can't nobody stop you. Can't nobody stop you when God got you. But first, you got to realize that you're in your bamboo season. So a couple of things that I'm taking away from this, a couple of things that I want to share with you. Number one, sometimes you have to slow down so that you can speed up. Let me say that again. Sometimes you have to slow down, even if it seems like a lifetime. Because those 3 years, baby, those 3 years may get sad, lonely. You might be feeling broke, busted, and disgusted. You might be feeling like nobody gets it. You don't even get it. Okay. Imagine you expecting somebody else to get what's going on and you don't even understand what's going on. Perfect time, prime time to go to God because God gets it and God got you. But you can't ever get discouraged when things aren't coming together as quickly as you expect them to, because God develops your purpose while you pause. So it might seem like things have stopped. It might seem like things are not progressing, but that is the perfect time for God to develop your purpose. Even when it's a painful situation or a painful season of pausing, that is when you truly allow God to come in and develop you. The second thing that I'm taking away from this theory that I'm a bamboo tree is that you should not get caught up in the growth of others. I don't care if you are in a forest full of trees that are just sprouting up all around you and you just looking around trying to figure out, well, what they got that I don't got. What kind of seeds did they plant? Right? What kind of fertilizer are they using? You have to instead focus on strengthening your roots and building from a solid foundation so that once you start, baby, nothing can stop you. You all the way up, okay? So don't get caught up in the growth of others. Don't spend your time focusing on what God is doing for other people because, again, they might be going strong right now. They might be getting there real fast right now, but that doesn't mean that it's going to last. Okay? The third thing that I'm taking away from this theory of being a bamboo tree is that a lot of your growth will go unseen. A lot of your growth will go unseen. People around you may not recognize who you're becoming right now because it's all about your roots. So don't take it personal if people don't see your progress. Don't get frustrated because you can't see the fruit, because you gotta know, you have to trust that you are building a solid foundation. So that once you hit daylight, once you come busting out, there's nowhere to go but up. And you're going to go up so fast that you're going to make their head spin. They have forgotten about you because you were head down doing the dirty work. You were underground building those roots. You were focused on figuring out how to build your solid foundation. And they thought they had counted you out. Baby, what's that quote? They wrote me off, but I ain't write back. You don't have time to write back. You are busy working on your roots. And so today, I just want to encourage you not to allow the success of other people to stop you from going after everything God has for you. You were literally born to do great things, but you slow yourself down by stopping and staring at the accomplishments of everyone else. So instead of wondering why they're doing what they do, how they're getting their results, and why you haven't reached your full potential, focus on getting closer to God so he can give you clarity on what he's calling you to do. Week after week, I have told y'all my prayer is clarity on what I'm being called to do and confirmation that I'm following that calling. I don't want to try to figure it out anymore. I don't want to waste time trying to do things my way. I want those 3 years, that time spent underground, to be purposeful so that I know that I'm on the path that he laid out for me. Instead of me fiddling around and fumbling with some ideas that may not even be what I'm being called to do. And so you got to keep your head down and lay low while you are being molded and developed into the woman that God designed you to be. So Don't be pressed or feel pressured to do what everyone else is doing. Don't be a victim of this microwave society that we live in that says everything should happen so fast or it ain't working. Don't get caught up in clout chasing, all of this clout chasing on the internet that makes it look like everyone is doing better than what they actually are. Okay. And don't get sidetracked watching other people when your priority has to be your purpose. I'm just here to encourage you while I'm encouraging myself that God has a perfect plan for you and he's already placed you on the path for it. But it's time for you to realize and recognize that you are the bamboo. So if God is with you, who gonna check you, boo? I hope that you are feeling inspired, encouraged, and I hope that this message helps you to release the spirit of frustration, the spirit of comparison, the spirit of not enoughness, and know that God sent me here to share this message with myself and with my sisters who need a good word to recalibrate yourself, recalibrate your spirit, and realize that this is just your bamboo season where your goal is to get closer to God so you can ensure that you are following his assignment. Now, I told you about one of the amazing ladies from the mastermind that literally got me on this whole bamboo track, right? She is one of 6 other ladies that I am partnering with on an event that's coming to Atlanta next month. It is called the Wealth-ish event. It's at a private location here in ATL, November 4th and 5th. If you want to be in a space sitting at a table with wealth-minded women, like-spirited women, then I definitely want to invite you to secure your spot to meet me there in real life, November 4th and 5th. I'll also make sure the link for you to grab a ticket before they are gone is in the show notes. I love you, and I'll see you on the next episode.